Hello and welcome to another Marvel Snap video. Today I'm going to be going over the new card coming out today as of when you're seeing it. The card is Annihilus. He's a 5/7 with the on reveal. Your cards with 0 or less power switch sides and destroy those that can't. I don't think I'm the only one that shares the opinion that I think that he's going to be an extremely strong card. Well, okay, maybe not extremely strong, but a strong card. He will be good. I think he will be better than Gladiator, last week's card. The obvious way to look at him that we will go over is in a junk deck, but I think he is a lot more versatile than that. I think he will feel similar to how Legion plays. He's not something that you need to play all the time, and even you might feel fine playing him even if you didn't necessarily need to play him. Like, having him send anything over the board or destroy anything is positive. So let's say you got a Black Widow's Bite, it's a 5/8 now, and now you have a board space, or hell, maybe they have the -1, so you'd be a 5/9 because it'd be a 2-power trade. So I think that he's going to be a very good card. He might be a card that you could honestly run in decks that you don't have any junk synergy for yourself. You're just using him as a way to counteract hoods, goblins, in case you play other junk decks, or you're going up against a like a Darkhawk Black Widow deck or something. I think that he's going to be a very powerful tool against those. And so I only came up with 2 decks for this one because the third idea is I think that he is going to be good in shells that are flexible, that you don't necessarily need him. Like, maybe like a Thanos deck where you're just running kind of big things already. Annihilus might just be a good tech card to have in there, since Thanos, if you're not running a Destroy Thanos, junk can be very detrimental to you, so having a tool like that to just alleviate it could be really strong. Hell, even things like Galactus may see Annihilus in those decks, and you just flood your side of the board, Annihilus on 5, and then find the lane that you can win with 5 power on turn 6. I don't know, but I'm saying that those could be real possibilities. So moving into the actual first deck that I made, I went with the stock obvious one here, which is a junk deck, like I said. So it runs all the traditional cards of Hood, Viper, Hazmat, Debris, Goblins, and then the Sentry to give the -10 Void. Obviously this is also paired then with Ravonna to discount a lot of the cards in this deck, and then you now have a big Annihilus to help get some big power swings at the end of the game. I think Annihilus will be a pretty big buff to junk decks overall, because my biggest issue with junk, and I think a lot of people, is if you aren't able to get like that perfect lane seal, you aren't typically generating enough power to be able to win lanes where they can play like literally one card on the final turn. So I think Annihilus being a 5/7 will provide a lot of power, not even considering you're throwing all of your rocks over the board, getting rid of like the Hood if you couldn't move it, getting rid of your Void, things like that. So I think he'll be very good in junk decks. So I would say that this is obviously a similar shell to this, will be probably the most popular one you see. But as always, I can't just show you the most popular one. I have to show you the one that I'm looking at. So this is a variant of what my favorite deck in the game is. It's the Storm Sentry Lockdown deck. So the way this deck typically played out was you would storm the far left location or the middle location, you would Sentry into it, you would then end up playing a lot of junk into your far right lane, since that's where your Void would be, and I would then Valkyrie or Lady Deathstrike that lane to cause a huge swing of power that my opponent either wouldn't be able to expect, or would be hard for them to predict that happening, going from -20 to like 15, right? So it'd be a very influential swing. So this is a different version of it. It's more on the destroy side of things. So the thought is we have Forge. We can use Forge on Lady Deathstrike or on really anything to pump it up. It'd be ideal obviously on Lady Deathstrike to get her to a 5/6, so she's destroying more things on our opponent's side of the boards. If we don't have Lady Deathstrike, then we have the option of Annihilus. So we can Annihilus, move our Void and our Hood over to their side of the board, and it'll also help us into other junk matchups, since junk matchups can be kind of hard for this deck. We also run Death in this deck, since we have 2 destroy cards in Carnage and Lady Deathstrike. Death can typically get to around a 5 or 4 cost card, which means that on turn 6 we could play Death and a Demon for 18 power and still have an energy to spare. And then that's not even including if we hit X23 to give us bonus power on the final turn. That could let us, if we don't have Death, we could Chavez and then Demon on the final turn with 7 energy from X23. I think this deck has a lot of good things going for it. The one major downside to this deck is this deck hard loses its game plan if the opponent is running Armor or Cosmo and they play that into the right lane where your Void is. So an option to counter that would possibly be switching X23 for Echo. You could play an up-tempo Echo on turn 1 or 2 into the far right lane, preventing your opponent from doing anything to stop you, so they can't Armor, they can't Cosmo that lane without it getting disabled by Echo. And then you are fine with destroying it later, since who cares, right? Like, it's just cannon fodder to the Carnage or the Lady Deathstrike to cheapen your death. So if you have X23, if you have X23 or Echo, I think those are interchangeable with each other, and they can provide a lot of benefit to this deck as well. But obviously these aren't the only 2 decks that Annihilus could shine in. Like I said, maybe Galactus is one that could be looked into. I didn't think about it until literally I just started recording, but that one does seem like a very plausible option for where Annihilus could fall. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like and comment letting me know, and subscribe for any future deck highlight videos or card reviews. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one.